Right, so it's day 2 of trying to start the T-34. I've had Max and George bring me some supplies. We're not taking any chances this time of a fire.
More extinguishers.
It should stop me burning to the ground.
Hopefully.
Funnily enough, I did find another one in the T-34 earlier.
Oh, lucky.
But it looks like it's a million years old.
Oh, freebies that you get inside them.
We've got some absolutely fantastic Odyssey batteries sorted out. £400 each. Very expensive, but brilliant. I've wired up some temporary leads, temporary earth, temporary power, because lugging them in the turret is a horrendous job. I don't know if anyone's ever put batteries on a T-34, probably not. It's not easy, and the less lifting I can do, the better. So it's easier to put the boost charger on and all that nonsense. So I've also wired up a little wire here that goes to the little fuel ticker pump and the fuel can. So we're running that with clean fuel in it, and we're just going to run it off this little pump. The little pump's going to feed the main injector pump, and then hopefully it'll start. Now I do know that that injector pipe is fractured down there, so I know that that cylinder isn't going to work right, and that's going to flood a bit because that was doing it last time. I will get all these pipes replaced. I did do this one when I was playing around with it the first time, but really I should have just done the lot, but I didn't. Never mind. Right, but I've spent hours on the phone last night to Master Milo. Thank you very much for helping me time it. I think God knows what he was trying to do yesterday, but I was WhatsApping him every 5 minutes about the timing. It was very, very helpful. So big thanks to for Milo for that. So now let's give it a whirl, see what happens. I'm a bit excited. Right, well, the only way in at the moment is through this hatch, which is seized up. I don't have time to get the gas on it. Oh, right, we're now inside. Driver's seat's a little bit minging. In fact, it's all a bit minging in here. I'm going to turn this camera on torch mode. Right, here's your gear lever on a T-34. Your steering tillers. You've got a clutch and a brake and accelerator. Now when you're running these, to start them, this is your hand throttle. You want to have the hand throttle on midway, but for now I'm going to have it on all the way because I need as much diesel as we can get. And to start them, you've got a main battery isolator here that you push in. Takes a bit of doing. And then you've got an oil primer there. When you press that, you should have a gauge that will actually give you a bit of oil pressure. Mine doesn't work, so you just have to sort of listen to it. Give it a couple of seconds of that just to pre-prime the engine with oil. Now, if you're going to start it off air, that's done with this here. You connect your oxygen bottle. I mean, it does have a cylinder in the bottom there, but that's empty. And when you connect your air, you'd pull it that way, and then that would start the air start. But obviously, I've not got a bottle on it. I'm trying to use the battery. So for the batteries, you use this button here. So I'm going to press that, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so that was close, but what I'm going to try and do is adjust the timing one tooth, one way or another. We'll see. Come on, focus. We'll see if that improves it. It's close, but it's not quite there. It's just not quite there yet. Just get me kneeling cushion down. Okay, right, so to adjust the timing, all you have to do is pull this slip collar back, and then I'm going to turn the pump 1 degree and try and get it to go back on and slip it back on like that. Right, very difficult to do where I'm... Right, okay, let's try it again. Right, after a few failed attempts of starting it, I've spoke to Master Milo, and he's instructed us how to time it basically off the degree wheel on the back of the crank and number 1 injector to number 1 cylinder. So I've got the cams off cam, so basically we know that number 1 piston's coming up to TDC, but we've got to make sure that that starts injecting fuel 30 degrees before TDC. And what we'd found actually is it was injecting after, so it was never ever going to run because it was injecting the fuel on when the piston was on the way back down. So Jack's going to turn the engine over. What we've marked out there on the flywheel is where it should start injecting.
That's when it should start injecting. That's 30 degrees.
And that's the point.
Top dead centre, 4 pistons.
Yeah, so that's where it should start injecting. And where that white mark is that
white mark. It's this white mark here.
Oh, is it?
The one I'm about to put on.
So that is TDC.
That's top dead centre. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, we were firing after there.
Yeah, we were down here. This is when the fuel was coming in somewhere down here.
So it was never going to start. So Jack, you're going to turn it now then.
Yeah.
Bit past that, so we can.
Wait, I'll go back a little bit.
Yeah, if you go back a bit now. Right.
So if I go back to here.
Yeah.
And if you put the camera over to that.
Yeah. So basically, when Jack.
Injecting.
Wait. So, yeah, starting to inject.
Yeah. Perfect.
So now we know that it's starting to eject at the right time. And so.
Everything else should be right.
Yeah, so it should be a bit closer.
So we're going to try again and see if she goes.
It's exciting.
So close. That is so close.
Right, well, I think we've got some issues because it looks to me like the top of the injector pump's getting wet, which would mean that some of these aren't sealing or there's a fracture. I know for sure that one's knackered, so I'm going to take that off now and see what that looks like, and I'll check a few others because I think now it is firing. It's really trying to go, but I reckon if a couple of them are leaking and not getting pressure for its first start, it's never going to start with cylinders down. So let's take them off and have a look. Right, you can see there's a fracture. That isn't good. Another one here that's fractured. That's 2 down. Right, okay, I've ended up taking every single injector pipe off because, to be quite honest, I'm not happy with any of them. 2 of them have been assembled completely wrong. Someone has put the collar, that collar should be under there on the opposite side. So that's meant that wasn't even in the injector very well. The same happened this side, same guy, I take it. He's even gone to the effort to grind that down and ram it in this housing, which is nothing short of an utter bodge. So that's also crap. And the trouble is, you can't actually see if the injectors are leaking without taking the cover off, the rock cover off. And I can't do that without removing the radiators, which I don't particularly want to do if I can help it for now. So I'm going to have all of these pipes remade. This is the one that I had made, which I think I'm pretty happy with. They don't need collar underneath. That's not how they're supposed to be. That's how they should be. Not like this one. Right, so the actual injectors are hidden under the rockers, and you can actually see them down there. Just there. So they go through there, under the cams, and into there. So if you've got a diesel leak, you can't actually see it. So if it's weeping around that end internally, I wouldn't be able to tell, because it's obviously going inside the rocker of the engine. So I just think we'll put a new set on. I'll know then, well, be interested to see if it starts any different, but we'll know then that they should be okay. I feel that they're very close to running, but just not quite. And I think with weeps on the tops, coming out the tops, that I did see, there's at least 3 injectors that were weeping on the top of the injector pipe, so they're not going to be getting the right amount of pressure. So I'm just going to get them repaired. I'll get some new ones made. While I'm at it, I'm going to send its original fuel injector pump off for testing, so they can stick that on the tester, test it. Hopefully it's okay, and I could then just put this back on knowing that it's been tested. If it's not, I might just see if they'll repair it. Can't imagine they can get parts for a T-34 injector pump, but who knows. And I think we'll try again. I also want to say I'm absolutely baffled how good the starter motor is. Whoever repaired that for 50 quid, you did an absolutely fantastic job. That works an absolute treat. No need for the fire extinguishers today. I think did pretty well not to have any fires. So we'll have to get everything sent away, get some new pipes on. When I get the pipes, I will just try it, see if it starts, or do I? If the pump comes back tested okay, do I just put the original pump back on? Let me know what you think I should do.